Title: The Last Guest. Chapter 1. The Invitation. Alex Monroe wasn't the adventurous type. He preferred quiet weekends at home with a good book rather than spontaneous trips to nowhere. So when he received an elegant black envelope with gold-embossed lettering reading, "You're invited to the grand reopening of the Marrow Hotel," he was both intrigued and skeptical. There was no return address, just a simple instruction. One night only. Midnight. Alex had never heard of the Marrow Hotel, but curiosity gnawed at him. Maybe it was some new boutique spot trying to generate buzz. Against his better judgment, he decided to go. What harm could one night do? Chapter 2. Arrival. The Marrow Hotel stood isolated at the edge of town, its towering structure hidden by dense woods. As Alex approached, the trees seemed to part unnaturally, revealing a grand building cloaked in shadows. The air grew colder, heavier, as if even nature hesitated to get too close. The driveway was lined with flickering gas lamps, casting long, distorted shadows. His footsteps echoed unnervingly loud as he approached the entrance, the sound swallowed quickly by the oppressive silence around him. The lobby was eerily pristine, polished floors reflecting the dim glow of antique chandeliers. A faint, almost metallic scent lingered in the air. The receptionist, an unsettlingly pale woman with hollow eyes, greeted him without a smile. "Welcome, Mr. Monroe. We've been expecting you." Alex hadn't RSVP'd. She handed him a key marked room 606 and motioned silently toward the elevator. As the doors slid shut, Alex caught his reflection in the mirrored walls, except it wasn't just his reflection. Something else was standing behind him, gone the moment he turned around. Chapter 3. The Room. Room 606 was immaculate, but felt wrong, like a stage set rather than a lived-in space. The walls were adorned with faded portraits of people whose eyes seemed to follow him. The bed was perfectly made, sheets tucked too tightly, and an old rotary phone sat ominously on the nightstand. Alex set down his bag, trying to shake the growing unease. Then the phone rang. He hesitated before picking it up. No voice, just faint breathing. Then a whisper. "Don't fall asleep." The line went dead. Alex noticed the time on the clock, 3:06 a.m., but the second hand wasn't moving. Chapter 4. The Hallway That Changed. Unable to relax, Alex decided to explore. The hallway outside his room stretched longer than before, lined with doors that hadn't been there earlier. The ornate carpet seemed to ripple under his feet, and the lights flickered with every step. He heard faint whispers, like voices bleeding through the walls. Sometimes, the whispers sounded like his own name. At the far end, he noticed a door slightly ajar. Curiosity got the better of him. Inside, the room was empty except for a mirror. Not just any mirror, but one that showed him standing there, with someone behind him. A distorted figure with hollow eyes, and a mouth stretched into an unnatural grin. He spun around nothing. But when he looked back at the mirror, the figure was closer. Alex reached out to touch the glass. It was warm. Chapter 5. The Guests Who Never Left. Panicked, Alex rushed back to his room, slamming the door shut. But it wasn't his room. The number on the door read 666. Inside, the walls were covered in scratch marks, and the same distorted figure stood in the corner, unmoving, its face hidden in shadow. Whispers filled the room, overlapping voices chanting incoherent words. On the floor was an old guest book. The pages were filled with names, some crossed out, others smudged beyond recognition. Near the bottom, his name was written twice. Alex fled down the endless hallways, which twisted and turned unnaturally, doors appearing and disappearing at will. He stumbled upon a grand ballroom filled with people in vintage attire, dancing silently. Their faces were wrong blurred, featureless. Yet they all turned to look at him in unison. One of them stepped forward and whispered, "You're the last guest." Chapter 6. The History of the Marrow Hotel. Desperate to escape, Alex found his way back to the lobby. The receptionist was still there, her hollow eyes now black voids. "Leaving so soon?" she rasped. "But you haven't checked out." Alex demanded answers. She simply smiled and gestured to a dusty guest book on the counter. Flipping through it, Alex's breath caught his name was already written there. The date next to it wasn't today's. It was from 10 years ago. Memories flooded back, fragments of a car accident, flashing lights, screams. He'd been here before. This wasn't a hotel. It was a place between. A place where lost souls checked in, but never checked out. As Alex pieced together the truth, he found an old newspaper clipping framed on the wall. Tragedy strikes. Tourist Alex Monroe missing after car crash near Marrow Hotel. The photo showed him. Chapter 7. The Final Room. Realizing the truth, Alex tried to escape, but the doors wouldn't budge. The walls seemed to close in, the shadows growing thicker, swallowing the light. The distorted figure appeared again, reaching out with elongated fingers. Alex backed into a room, the only door left open. Room 606. Inside, the bed was turned down as if waiting for him. The phone rang again. This time, he answered. His own voice whispered, "You never left." The door slammed shut. Epilogue. Weeks later, a new guest arrived at the Marrow Hotel, greeted by the same pale receptionist. She handed over a key. Room 606. And somewhere within the walls, Alex's voice whispered, "Welcome to the Marrow Hotel." Later that night, in the reflection of the lobby mirror, a faint outline of Alex could be seen, his face distorted, eyes hollow, smiling. The end.